I want to talk to you on beware of dissatisfaction. Beware of dissatisfaction. I always say beware of discontentment. You see, contentment is a great gain. Contentment is a great gain. When you are contented with what you have a well of peace in your heart. You have a well of peace in your mind. If you are contented, when you are contented with whatsoever that you have, you will have a well, a spring of peace in your mind. Now, let me put your understanding to the narrative of Luke chapter number 15, where Jesus Christ told us the parable of two sons and their father. He said, one elder son, then the other one, the younger son. And the younger son came to their father one day and asked that the father should give him his own share from all his properties, his estates. And the father gave him. And this guy went to a far country, as the Bible said. They said they went to a far country and, mingled with the new friends, made new friends, neglected the relationship he had with his father and his brother and his father's servant back in his house, in their house, and went to this far country, mingled with new friends, made new relationship. And after everything, he squandered all the money, all the assets that his father gave him. He squandered everything. He squandered what he would have lived all his life on and turned to generational wealth. He squandered everything, mingled with the help of his new friends, with the help of his new friend that he met. So he squandered everything. And then, those new friends he made, there was none among them to help him like that. And Bible says he went to hire himself. He hired himself to a man, and then he was given the privilege to serve as a feeder. So he was feeding the pigs of that man. And the Bible says that he began to be hungry. He grew so hungry to understand that there was no food for him to eat, and he ate the food. He ate the feed of those animals. He fed with the feeding of those animals. So then one day he came to his senses and then proposed that, okay, even the servant of my father back in my father's house are even more better than my new and my present status. So I'll just go back to my father and beg him, pleading. I said, Father, I know not to be called your son anymore, but just make me one of your servants so that at least life can be better. So then that was when this guy woke up. And this was after when dissatisfaction has already ruined things. This was after dissatisfaction has almost ruined his life. You see, that guy, for him to have gone to his father and asked him that, okay, my father, give me that which is my share. Give me that is my portion in your assets, in your properties, in your inheritance. For that guy to have gone, for that son to have gone to his father and make such a request, they know very well that dissatisfaction has been as a seed of a deposit of a seed, or has been a seed which he has been nurturing in his mind for a very long time, before the time he went to meet his father and request for his own share. So there are many ways that dissatisfaction, a seed of dissatisfaction come to dwell, or is being sown in the heart of a disciple. It's being sown in the heart of a disciple. And this is how to identify and how to come to your senses before you're being driven away, before you're being helped by your lust. Like James said in James chapter 1, he said, every man is tempted of his own lust. And how does that happen? It first starts by enticement. So you see, every time you start looking at things outside your comfort, outside your relationship, and they begin to entice you, you begin to have interest in them. Like that, your mind, your heart is already being bought away. Lust is already buying your mind away from your relationship, especially discipleship. Especially the discipleship, a member of a local church, when all the things that are happening in other churches are now much more your interest. You are now much more you now have much interest in them than what is being done in your church, and you no longer have an interest. You no longer seeing how you can help your local church and help the leadership of your local church to as well grow your community, but that you are already looking out. You're already being enticed by what is happening outside your church, outside your conference, outside your local assembly relationship. Like that, dissatisfaction will set in because you are being enticed. And as a result of that, you start nurturing lust in your mind. I used to call it adultery of church, adultery of churches, or adultery of church, whichever best grammar to describe that. Just pick one. So I used to call it adultery of church. When you are no longer satisfied with where you are, and you're seeing what they are doing outside, and you're wishing, you don't have much interest, you also want to be part. It shows that there's a seed of dissatisfaction has been sown in you that is just germinating now. So how do you deal with dissatisfaction so that you can be more fruitful and you can be more of help where you are, in that your local church, in that your local assembly, in that your discipleship class, in that your cell meeting? How can you help yourself not to be dissatisfied, not to get tired of your church, not to get tired of that same pastor coming every Sunday, every Wednesday, and every time you have meeting to teach you, not to get tired of that your discipler that comes every day to teach you? How do you help yourself? Wash out your interests and pay attention to your mind. Pay attention. Are you not being enticed? So these are things to pay attention to. Then look into your mind, look into your heart. Is there no yearning in your heart right now that is craving for self-independence? If there's a yearning in your heart craving for self-independence, I mean you want to be independent. Oh my dear, you're already treading the path of dissatisfaction. And if you don't carefully root it out now, it's not just going to take you away from that church where you are, from that cell meeting where you belong. It's actually going to take you out of gospel and apostle in life. I'm telling you. Because a man that is not satisfied, a dissatisfied man, a man that is nursing dissatisfaction, a man with a seed of dissatisfaction, and is not ready to root it out, I'm telling you, such man cannot be satisfied with God's will. Such man cannot be satisfied. So you need to be contented. You have to be satisfied with whatsoever the Lord has given to you. That local church where you belong is a family, is a home that God has given to you. You have to be satisfied. You have to be contented with it. You have to be satisfied with the brethren there. You have to stay together with them there. So we saw that guy, the younger son, he actually went back home. The father even made a party, a welcome party for him. But let me tell you something. If you lose that seat where you are, even if you return, Matthias might have taken that seat. So it is better to secure the seat now by rooting out the dissatisfaction and call your attention, call your focus back home, call your heart together. Stay where you are now. I wish you well and I wish you better, even in your walk with God, that you succeed in your walk with God and in your services unto Him.